Welcome back to FluentCast. We're kicking off season 2 and it feels awesome to be back on the mic. After a short break at the end of the year, we're ready to dive into new episodes. Get ready for a fun season where we'll chat about all sorts of topics and help you boost your English listening skills along the way. Now, before we dive into today's topic, which is an interesting one, trust me, let's take a moment to reflect on how far we've come. FluentCast started as a tiny idea to help you learn English while staying informed about the world. And here we are, season 2, with a growing community of fluent friends all around the globe. So thank you for listening, sharing, and sticking with us. Now, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Diego, teacher at Fluent English Academy and your host here at FluentCast is your go-to podcast for improving your English while diving into fascinating topics about the world around us. And if you've been enjoying the podcast, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Seriously, it helps more than you know. Alright, with all that housekeeping out of the way, let's talk about today's topic. 2025 is shaping up to be a year of change. Today, January 20th, marks the official transition of power in the United States as a new presidency takes the stage. Speaking of global change, have you ever scrolled through social media and wondered, is any of this even real? Recently, Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, has made some, let's just say, questionable choices. Today, we're diving into this topic, Mark Zuckerberg's decision to halt, to end, fact-checking, and allow hate speech on his platforms. It's a controversial move that has frustrated many, and as always, it's a perfect opportunity to enhance your English vocabulary. Are you ready? Let's get started. Alright, let's start with the facts, because unlike Meta, we still believe in them. Here's the scoop. Meta has decided to stop fact-checking across all its platforms. These programs used to work with third-party organizations to verify information and flag false claims. But now, they've decided to just stop. And if that wasn't enough to make your head spin, they've also announced they'll loosen restrictions on hate speech. That's right, hate speech. In a world already overflowing with division, Zuckerberg's response is, sure, go ahead, you can post whatever you want. It's like they're running a social network in a bonfire and they've just handed out free gasoline. Now, let's break this down. Fact-checking wasn't perfect, but it was a crucial tool in the fight against misinformation. Imagine you're scrolling through your feed and someone posts, drinking coffee upside down cures headaches. Without fact-checking, there's nothing stopping people from believing and sharing that nonsense. And that's a light-hearted example. Now think about how this impacts elections, health crisis, or social movements. The potential damage is massive. For people in Latin America, the stakes can be even higher. Social media often replaces traditional news sources. When the platforms that people rely on stop fact-checking, the spread of fake news becomes almost unstoppable. Add hate speech to the mix and you've got a recipe for chaos. Here's an advanced English word for you, negligence. It means failing to do something you're responsible for. And in my humble opinion, this decision by Mark Zuckerberg is a textbook example of negligence. But can we even do something about it? Let's talk about why this decision isn't just a global problem. It's a regional disaster for Latin America. Here's the thing, in many parts of the world, people can cross-check information using reliable news outlets. In Latin America, for example, where access to independent media is somewhat limited, social media often becomes the primary source of news. When misinformation spreads unchecked, it's like a wildfire with no firefighters in sight. Let's use elections as an example. Fake news can sway voters faster than a soccer meme. In the last few years, we've seen how misleading information has influenced campaigns across the world. Imagine what could happen now without any oversight at all. And it's not just politics. Public health crises are another big concern. Remember the wave of fake news during the pandemic? People were drinking bleach and rejecting vaccines because of misinformation. Do we really want to go back to that? Do we? Then there's the cultural aspect. Hate speech is already a problem in a world grappling with inequality, racism, and social tensions. By loosening restrictions, Zuckerberg is essentially giving hate a megaphone. And let's be honest, we've got enough drama without that extra layer of toxicity. Here's an idiom for you: to add fuel to the fire. This idiomatic expression means to make a bad situation worse. That's exactly what Mark Zuckerberg is doing here. Mark Zuckerberg's decision to allow hate speech on Facebook and Instagram is adding fuel to the fire. So let's discuss what we as a society and an individual can do about it. It's time to talk solutions. How can we survive this truth-free era without losing our sanity? I'm going to mention here 4 steps to keep yourself informed and safe online. Step 1. Critical thinking. This is your best weapon against misinformation. If a headline sounds too wild to be true, it probably is. Google it, check multiple sources, and ask yourself, who benefits from this information? If the answer is unclear, take a step back. Here's a useful phrase for you. Take it with a grain of salt. It means to approach something with skepticism. Whenever you read something online, take it with a grain of salt until you verified it. And always consider this: even if everyone in your social group is talking about something or believing in something, it doesn't mean it is true or a fact. Ask questions. Step 2. Spot the red flags. Look for signs that a post might be fake. Does it lack credible sources? Does it use overly emotional language to provoke a reaction, usually an angry one? Does it ask you to share it immediately without checking the facts? If yes, it's probably misinformation. Step 3. Support real, fact-checked journalism. As I often tell my students, reading is not only a fantastic way to improve your English, but also a powerful tool for staying informed. Dive into newspapers that prioritize accuracy and accountability. For example, The Guardian, a publication I often recommend to my students, is a trustworthy source that consistently delivers credible news. By subscribing to and sharing their work, you're amplifying facts and contributing to a more informed world. Step 4. Did you know that companies like Meta don't run on ideals or even algorithms? They run on money. And where does that money come from? Us. Well, not literally from me. I canceled my Facebook account after the big data leak in 2016, and I've been barely accessing Instagram. But you get the point. Choosing not to support a company financially has a history of making corporations rethink their actions. It's like giving them a financial timeout. Don't believe me? Let's look at some examples. Remember the global movement against fast fashion brands exploiting workers? Companies lost millions when consumers started shopping more ethically. And this isn't just about money, it's about the message. A collective boycott sends a loud, clear signal. We see you and we don't like what you're doing. It's like leaving a bad Google review for an entire corporation. Imagine if millions of people decided to delete their accounts or stop engaging with meta platforms. No likes, no comments, no content. That means fewer advertisers, less revenue, and a boardroom full of very worried executives. Here's the kicker. Studies show that even a small percentage of consumers choosing not to financially support a product can create noticeable change. And finally, remember, kindness and empathy go a long way. Don't engage with hateful content. It only gives it more visibility. Instead, focus on spreading positivity and facts. Well, FluentCast listeners, that's a wrap on the first episode of Season 2. Mark Zuckerberg may have decided to throw truth out the window, but here at FluentCast, we're holding the line. Remember, the pursuit of truth is a lifelong journey. It's about asking questions, seeking reliable sources, and staying open-minded. And if 2025 gets too overwhelming, you can always tune in here for some sanity and a few laughs. And if you have been thinking about stepping up your English skills, here's your chance. Fluent English Academy offers personalized classes. Whether you're starting from scratch or brushing up for an international exam, we've got you covered. Plus, we promise to make it fun. No boring grammar drills, just practical, interactive lessons that actually help you use English in real life. You can find all the details in the show notes. Before we go, let me leave you with this advanced word: integrity. Integrity means doing the right thing even when it's hard. Let's carry that word with us this year and hold ourselves and others accountable. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you handle misinformation on social media? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to share this episode. It's our way of spreading facts, not fake news. See you next week. Until then, stay curious, stay kind, and keep practicing. Bye for now.